Good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Borough Council on March 17, 2021. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice of this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press and the Two River Times and by posting at the Borough of Highlands Municipal Building and filing with the Borough Clerk all on January 1st, 2021. Please be advised that due to the current state of emergency and public health emergency declared by Governor Phil Murphy and pursuant to executive order in an effort to prevent further spread of COVID-19, the general public will be excluded from Borough Council meetings until further notice. The public will be able to participate in all Borough Council meetings by video conference. Members of the public will be able to give public comment during relevant portions of the meeting. If you want to ask a question or make a statement to the governing body, please press the raise hand button, then wait to be acknowledged by the clerk before speaking. If you are calling in, please use *9 to raise hand. Please state your name and address for the record before making your statement. There is a 3-minute time limit for your comments. The clerk will inform you when you are near the end of your time and ask you to finish up. Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now call roll. Councilmember Martin?
Here.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Here.
Councilmember Melnick?
Here.
Council President Olszewski?
Here.
Mayor Brion?
Here.
Thank you. On tonight's agenda, we have the approval of minutes. February 17, 2021 executive meeting minutes, February 17, 2021 regular session minutes, March 2nd, 2021 special meeting, March 3rd, 2021 executive meeting minutes, March 3rd, 2021 regular meeting minutes.
Michelle, I'd like to offer all 5.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Was that Councilmember Melnick?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. Next on the agenda, we have one ordinance for public hearing and final adoption.
This ordinance is going to need to be tabled. We have yet to hear back from our local finance. We had hoped that they would have it ready for this meeting, but we are going to need to table this for now. So if I could get a second on that, I'd appreciate it.
I second it.
So it's a motion to adjourn the public hearing and time and place where ordinance 02113 will be further considered for final passage until the next council meeting scheduled April 7th, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that was an offer by Mayor Brion and a second by Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Okay, this ordinance has been tabled with a public hearing set for April 7th, 2021. Next item on the agenda is resolutions. First one we have is R21-75, a resolution authorizing payment of bills.
I will offer it.
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-76, a resolution authorizing temporary street closure.
I'll offer that as well.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola?
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick?
Yes.
Council President Olszewski?
Yes.
Mayor Brion?
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R21-77, 77, a resolution approving the revised emergency temporary approval process for outdoor dining and/or business operations due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
I'll offer it, and I'll also just state that we revised some things between OEM and the fire marshals just to streamline the process of using the knowledge that we learned last year. And with that, I'll offer it.
I'll
Second.
second.
Was that Council President Oshewski? Okay, thank you. Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes, and I'd also like to add that in addition to what the mayor stated, that any businesses, obviously, that didn't take advantage of this last year, or any businesses that have the ability to expand, right, are encouraged to do so.
Absolutely.
So it's yes.
thank you. Councilmember Melnick,
Completely agree with Councilmember Mazzola, and yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Absolutely, yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 2178, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement for leaf and brush disposal services between the Borough of Highlands and the Township of Middletown.
Just to explain this one a little bit, we had been in an informal arrangement with Middletown, and this just solidifies the arrangement that we had. Our DPW superintendent has purchased a chipper, which makes this a much more efficient operation and therefore will reduce costs going forward. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 2179, a resolution authorizing the execution of a shared service agreement between the County of Monmouth and participating municipalities for participation in the Shrewsbury River Automated Flood Warning System Project.
In case folks don't know, this is something that we've been in participation with for many years, and we're just renewing the authorization, and it goes through a lot of the Bay Shore towns from Highlands down through Seabright, Monmouth Beach, and others. And with that, I'll offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 2180, a resolution authorizing refund of street opening and curb cut deposit.
It's pretty straightforward, just a refunding of curb cuts and street opening fees. I will offer that.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 2181, a resolution appointing a firefighter.
I'll offer it.
And I will second that.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes, and welcome David Wiss.
motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R 2182, a resolution approving the refund of unused off-duty police escrow funds.
This was for a corporation that had paid for off-duty police, and they didn't end up using all of it, so it's just a refund of that extra in the escrow. And with that, I will offer it.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Oshewski,
Yes.
Mayor Brion,
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R2183, a resolution authorizing the refund of a mercantile license application fee.
This is to refund the fees for both the VFW and the American Legion, and that they're nonprofit organizations, and we just wanted to get those fees refunded to them. And with that, I'll offer.
I'll second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
yes,
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R2184, a resolution authorizing refund of a tax overpayment.
I will offer that.
Second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
yes,
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt. Next, we have R2185, a resolution of the Borough of Highlands conditionally designating Captain's Cove Marina LLC as the redeveloper for the property known as Tax Block 84, Lot 2.01, located within the Captain's Cove redevelopment area.
I will offer it.
Second.
I'll, oh, okay,
Sorry, Joanne.
that's okay. Get you next time.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
I want to just explain a few things to the public because there have been some questions in reference to this situation. I want to remind everyone that this is private property, that this area redevelopment was not pursued with condemnation. So, you know, pursuing an RFP and issuing an RFP for a redeveloper is not an option. And by pursuing this type of an agreement between the redeveloper and the borough, it does provide the borough with input and a voice in how things should be moving forward in reference to means and methods and a milestone schedule. So those are the things that we will absolutely be weighing in on. And in addition, it affords the borough an opportunity to recoup and to have our professional fees paid, which are the legal and the engineering fees. So with that, I just wanted to be sure that the public who's in attendance right now understands some of these issues, and the answer is yes.
thank you. Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
Yes,
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. Last resolution for tonight is R2186, a resolution authorizing the refund of a bulk permit fee.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mazzola,
Yes.
Councilmember Melnick,
Yes.
Council President Olszewski,
yes,
Mayor Brian.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries to adopt. There are no items under other business, so the next item on the agenda is reports.
I'd like for the council members to go through their committee reports, please.
I'll start. So we can just tick through. Communications Committee again had another productive meeting this past earlier in March. Again, all these meetings are open to the public, and the Zoom information is available via the website. We did have some attendees beyond just the committee, so I continue to encourage that to going forward on all these committees. We discussed again the prioritization and divvied up the work on the hottest hit aspects of the website so that we can take it beyond just that one-from-one port from the old site to the new. So that was a very constructive and productive meeting. Looking forward to the progress coming up next week. Open space, we did finally get together as a committee. Thanks to those who did join. We still have an open slot on the open space, so citizen leadership forums are out there. So anybody who is interested in open space, please feel free to apply. We could always help. We discussed some of the hotter topics for open space, especially updating our Rossi, which hasn't been updated since the early 90s, and also covered some of the potential projects about town with space that's already owned by the borough, so that we can expand our outdoor use of that public property. And then as far as Shade Tree had a good milestone this past meeting where we had acknowledgement, or actually the approval of our Tree City USA application from the Arbor Day Society. So we'll be looking forward to passing a resolution acknowledging that, and thanks to the mayor and the DPW for making that come through in terms of the funding that we need to demonstrate that was going towards our Shade Tree efforts.
And we'll be getting that proclamation done for our Earth Day celebrations, so that will be in full compliance with Tree City USA.
I have a question for Councilmember Melnick. Don, can you tell me, is there an area on the website where minutes in reference to these meetings will be posted for any of the residents to review in the event they can't make the meetings?
You're absolutely right, Linda. Like going all through 2020, there were absolutely no minutes posted for any of the committees, and we've made an effort to get a standard template around the minutes that are associated to the meetings. And then, yes, they will hang off of the same website underneath the committee that they're associated to, so that those minutes are available to the population. Also, good point there too, Linda, because I know minutes tend to be dry. We can also consider recording those meetings as well via Zoom, so that if anybody's interested, they don't necessarily have to pour through the minutes. They can sit through and listen.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
From the Environmental Commission, I've actually had to catch up via meetings. I had work-related things that made me miss the meeting, but they caught me up, and one of their main concerns has been roughly talking about the potential new municipal building, and actually one of the sounds of the generators and how it affected normal questions that I think they were going to ask here, but since it's been tabled, but just kind of the general effect on the area around it. And a couple of slope issues, but outside of that, that was basically what I gathered from those minutes. That's basically it. Oh, also, I'm going to be talking to Don about basically doing the same thing that was suggested by Linda, which is kind of having those minutes posted where people can actually see them. I know we kind of meet in a different way. I think it's WebEx. I'm not necessarily sure of the recording capabilities of those things. But if that's possible, I think that's a good idea for the Environmental Commission as well.
Thank you for that. Joanne, do you have anything to report on the schools?
Yes, I've been talking with Ms. Sherlock up at the high school and investigating. I've learned a lot. I was happy to plug into the elementary meeting. Unfortunately, the high school meeting is the same night as ours, and they don't record them, which makes it difficult. A suggestion would be that they ought to record it, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who'd like to, partake of the meeting and can't do it. And in terms of the high school, talking a little bit about budget and maybe some ideas. And with my other hat, I've had a number of meetings with the tax assessor, and a lot of conversations and spreadsheets to discuss equity, to discuss fairness, and to discuss hopefully a far better system than the county currently uses, because it's impossible to navigate and come up with the sort of questions that anybody would have about their assessment. It's been very agreeable, very good to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much. The Economic Development Review Board had its first meeting, and we met with the owner of the current M&R building. Him and his brother still aren't really clear on how they want to move forward. We laid out a little bit about how areas of redevelopment works, tools that will be at their disposal. I gave them a couple of brochures from the League of Municipalities that outlined how redevelopment areas work I believe I've shared it with the council and with the borough from 2016 and 2017. So that should probably be out there with some of the borough reports. If it's not, I'll make sure I get it on the website. I think I did the economic development review of 2020 back at the second meeting in February. I was looking through our ordinances, and apparently it is incumbent upon the mayor to give a review of 2020, which should be in your meeting packets, but just in case it's not, I will try to, as quickly as possible, go through this. Let me get a little bit of water. Okay. At the end of 2019, I was planning for various projects in 2020. As a first-time mayor, I wanted to address past issues as well as plan for Highland's future for both residents and businesses. Some of the issues that I wanted to address first were the continuation and implementation of multiple infrastructure projects regarding flooding, updates to our buildings and equipment, to move forward with going out to bid on the new municipal building, negotiate the 2 areas of redevelopment into former developer agreements, procedure changes to make the borough operate more efficiently, capital improvements and purchases for our parks and open spaces, and to enter into the mayor's wellness campaign to raise the level of awareness of our residents' health and wellness. And with that, I have a little review by month of 2020. So in January, we started working with the Bayford Shore Family Success Center to expand our recreation and outreach services. Highlands joined the Monmouth County Health Department. The recreation coordinator and I worked on programming for the mayor's wellness campaign, and the borough contracted to make emergency repairs to the slope at the very end of Bayside Drive. In February, we discussed making the mercantile process easier. We entered into an agreement with the Monmouth Affordable Housing Alliance to secure more affordable housing in the borough to meet our requirement from the courts. Free family movie nights continued. I was able to tour the emergency department over at Monmouth Medical Center, which is part of Robert Wood Johnson Barnes Health. And we contractors finished repairs that they had started to Cornwall and John Street. As you're all aware, March, World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. On March 16th, the United States went into a national lockdown, and so did Highlands. All borough buildings were closed to the public. 4 days later, on March 20th, testing started at PNC. COVID-19 protocols emerged, starting with the Governor's EO 107 on March 21. OEM and internally, we all discussed an agreement with JFK Meridian Health to have their rigs in Highlands from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We put that service into place on April 1st. Recreation and the Mayor's Wellness campaign started with virtual programming. Then we met with the Atlantic Highlands Navesink Methodist Church and OLPH, and the church started doing their drive-by pickups in both Highlands and Atlantic Highlands. At the end of March, new COVID-19 cases were at 5. From the beginning of April to this day, the Highlands Police Department, Fire Department, and First Aid Squad participated in birthday drive-bys. The SBA COVID-19 loan program began. We started organizing with the food pantries at OLPH and the Methodist Church and the business community to help Atlantic Highlands and Highlands who needed a helping hand. That was with the Curbside Kindness food donation program organized by the Highlands Business Partnership. And in 2020, they raised over 10,000 pounds of food for these two organizations. Although the unemployment rollout had many pitfalls, we were able to help as many Highlanders as we could, both navigate the system and get back owed monies due. The Recreation Department turned up with the First Aid Squad to deliver Easter baskets, and that put a lot of smiles on a lot of kids' faces. The governor moved the primaries to July 7th, and new COVID-19 cases in April were 16. In May, the county had over 6,000 cases and the state had over 121 new cases of COVID. Parks reopened and we were awarded a Safe Roads to School grant. We extended our property deadlines so that people would not get charged a fee if they were late on their property taxes. And COVID tested expanded to the non-symptomatic. On May 9th, Sandy Hook reopened. And it was once a blessing. CERN turned into a nightmare. If you guys all remember that all the New York City beaches at the time were still closed. So New Yorkers started flocking to Sandy Hook and it created a real traffic nightmare in our town. Then on May 23rd, we were notified that resident Lee Goldman, age 94, had passed away from COVID at King James on May 16th. There was extraordinarily little PPE to be found throughout literally the country. A lot of private corporations started to donate to the borough, which was very much appreciated, especially for our first responders. Along with the VFW Post Members 6902, I took part in honoring our lost service members in a socially distant Memorial Day. And we started to push census awareness and reminders to take part in the census. New COVID-19 cases in May were 9. June was vote by mail applications and outdoor dining arrived. The restaurant industry was especially hard hit. So once the go-ahead was given, OEM and I worked directly with the restaurant owners to make outdoor dining happen. The farmers market also started in June to make sure that Highlanders had easy access to fresh produce. We continued our shared service with Seabright Ocean Rescue to guard our bay beaches, and new COVID cases in June were 3. July, the CARES Act funding for businesses, nonprofits, and municipality was released. Knowing we would be in this for the long haul, the borough events were canceled through August 31. I asked Congressman Pallone's office and the Parks Department to get involved in the traffic situation at Sandy Hook. And we took our first step into investigating school regionalization. New COVID cases in July were 6. August brought a continued outdoor dining and outdoor activities. Census response reminders continue. Tropical storm Isaias came to town on August 4th and knocked out power for a few days. On August 6th, we opened up the community center as a cooling and charging station. Property tax grace period again was moved to August 21st. New COVID cases in August were 4. September, indoor dining resumed on the 4th. Again, OEM and I worked with the restaurants to get them up to speed. The fire marshals went to all the restaurants and issued temporary COs with their allowed number of patrons inside. The borough had a socially distant 9/11 ceremony at Veterans Park. Construction of the municipal lot where the former borough hall stood was completed. The police department entered into a partnership program with Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health, and the Phoenix for a recovery program called Unhooked. And we were also awarded a CDBG grant for Marine Place in the amount of $179,605. New COVID cases in September were 5. October, Harry Potter came to Highlands with outdoor teen night movies of the Harry Potter films. We had Film Fest, which was outdoors on October 9th and 10th. And we had that as a drive-in at Kavujan Field. Heartstrings held a concert at Snub Harbor Beach on October 18th. Resolution to have Bay Avenue studied as an area of redevelopment was approved. We then hired a redevelopment attorney to handle the 3 areas of redevelopment. We bonded to fix the Waterwitch sanitary pump station in the amount of $435,000. We partnered with Bayshore Family Success Center to do a baby pop-up pantry. And they did this in conjunction with the Atlantic Highlands Methodist Church, food donations picking up at the skate park. We got Mountain Street repaved, and new COVID cases in October were 9. In November, Locust Street improvements started using $154,000 from a state DOT grant. Cedar and Jones Street bulkhead replacements began. Recreation continued to provide mental health awareness options from the county and state. On November 3rd, we signed a contract with IMM Care to test for COVID-19 at the borough, and that started on November 21. The VFW hosted a flu shot event on November 13th, and then Blessing Bag Brigade did their 3rd annual Thanksgiving meal as a takeaway event on November 25 at the community center. And then on November 27th, the Lions Club gave away coats for tots. New COVID cases in November were 40. For December, we had socially distant photos with Santa, and those were a feature of the month. Limited in-person programming began at the community center on a by appointment basis. Santa PJ delivery around town was a great success, and we want to thank you, First Aid Squad, for making that happen. We signed JFK Meridian on for the entire year of 2020 via Resolution 20-259. And free holiday dinners were provided by Proving Ground on December 23rd. In new cases in December or 65. So the state of the borough at the end of 2020, our community really pulled together during the pandemics. Residents, staff, businesses, charitable organizations, clergy, everyone worked together to get us through the worst part of most likely the biggest health crisis of our lifetime. I wanted to let everyone know that no business establishment went out of business in Highlands in 2020. The municipal tax rate lowered for the first time since 2014. The combined valuation of all the properties in the borough soared to over $741 million. This was an increase in valuation of over $128 million more than the year prior. And this was the largest increase in valuation ever recorded in the Highlands. During the year, it really was, as we have seen, it's all Zoom all the time. So I wanted to let you guys know, and everyone know, I participated in 5 calls with federal representatives, 19 with the state, 27 with county, and 51 municipal OEM calls to make sure the Highlands received all the information, grant opportunities, and awareness programs being offered. Other calls are with the New Jersey Restaurant Association and with the team who I cannot speak highly enough over at Monmouth Medical Center. And the last thing from 2020 is that even though we just started that Mayor's Wellness campaign from the New Jersey Quality Institute, we did get an accreditation from them for a 2020 Healthy Town up and coming. So outside of getting all our residents vaccinated in this year, the governing body goals for 2020 are as follows. And that's for our parks to upgrade electric, lighting, water, and move utilities out of the flood zone. As Council President Olszewski had talked about with the tax assessor, about looking into getting our tax assessment, addressing some inequalities in our assessments and to make it a smoother process. Some things that we've talked about for a while and haven't been able to get addressed are things that I also want to get addressed in this year, and that's to install the sewer meter at Route 36 in Waterwitch for Monmouth Hills. finally address the runoff issues at Monmouth Hills, complete the North and Valley pump improvements, including the Valley pipe that goes into the bay. I had mentioned earlier that we bonded to complete that, to finally get to redo the Water Witch sanitary pump station and install a backup gas-powered generator. We're looking to install higher riprap, which is the rock wall in front of the boardwalk at Vets Park that will help during nor'easters. Create the Overlook Park at the old Stymie's property, which is diagonally across the empty lot, diagonally across from OLPH Church. We're looking to enter into the community rating system program for lower flood insurance for everyone that's downtown. We're looking to validate borough property, as sometimes there was some ambiguity in the past as to what is borough property and what's not. As Councilman Melnick had said, we are looking to update our open space plan. The last time that was done was 2008. And also our ROSI, which stands for the Registered Open Space Inventory. The last time that was open, that was the last time, sorry, that was updated with the county was 1992. We also want to clean up Frank Hall Park. It's our only park that's dedicated from a former mayor. He was a Lion. It's been in a state of, I won't say neglect, but it's not really widely used, and we want to open it up so that more people can enjoy that open space. We want to look at getting new apparatus at all borough parks, including the skate park. If you were at last meeting, we've contracted with a company that's going to help organize so we can scan our records better. I'm looking to update our slope ordinance, including to replace some of these trees and replace them with seagrass. And we're looking to seek a forestry grant to help us with that. We also want to look, as more people have moved to unplugging from both cable and their phones, to get these redundant wires out from overhead that are just hanging on these poles, and it'll just clean up the town a great deal. And if you'll bear with me, sadly, we lost many friends and Highlands legends in 2020, some due to COVID-19, some because of issues surrounding the virus, and others with no relation to it at all. May each of their lives be cherished and honored, and may they all rest in peace. And those Highlanders are Brian Albright, Janice Charlotte Jones, Nancy Delaney, John Gardner, Louise Meldiato, Dolores Racchiapini, apologies, Brian Bodner, Jack Kraft, Carl Dittman, Carolyn Dempsey, Mark Gennaro, Richard Synods, Millie Goldman, Larry Colby, Betty Campbell, Frankie Phillips, Ozzie Thomas, Lori Dibble, and Walter Baker. All the best to you and yours in 2021. And with that, does anyone on the table have any questions regarding this report?
Oh, thank you.
Does anyone at the table have anything that they would like to add before we go to the public?
I actually would. I'm a little disappointed I can't see everybody tonight. I only see my fellow council members and the administrator and our legal team. I do look forward to seeing our residents during these meetings, because we haven't been able to get together in person.
It was rather distracting to see people not either not closing their screen when they weren't speaking, or just doing very interesting things while they were on video and perhaps not realizing they were on video. So we decided to go the route of Atlantic Highlands and I believe Seabright, where again, it's less distracting. Does anyone else have any other comment before we open up to the public? Okay. Michelle, I haven't been, I was reading, so I didn't see who came up first or second. Or...
Okay, Claudette D was first, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
we can hear you.
Okay, Claudette Dorigo, 12 Seadrift. 3 quick questions. Number 1, Joanne, what is the council and the administration's take on the fact that Monmouth County is being sued by a number of residents and towns for their participation in the program, the county tax assessment program? I mentioned that before, and it's been all over the news. So that's my question for you. My question for Mr. Martin is, can you give us an update on the summer recreation? You had said last meeting or 2 meetings ago that you were meeting with recreation. I didn't get a chance to ask you at the last meeting. And third, my question is for Carolyn. Now that the governor has announced that we can meet 50% in public places and the community center has a capacity of over 200, that should be adequate enough for us to be able to have council meetings, because never do we ever have 100 people show up for council meetings. So when is your anticipated date for us to all meet? This is you may find this distracting when people are walking around, but it's very distracting for others to not even know if we're on the meeting or if others that we're trying to contact about things are on this meeting. So this way, it's just not working. You know, we've always been able to see all you, and if residents are disrespectful to you, then maybe you should mute them, but the rest of us, that's just not fair. Okay, so those are my questions. I can't hear Joanne.
Joanne, you're muted, I think.
Hi, Claudette. It's Joanne. I think what you're talking about, I'm not deep on yet, but what I think it refers to is that if you have had a tax appeal, then technically, unless the town is redoing their taxes in a mass fashion, that you shouldn't have an increase in your assessment for, I believe, 3 years.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. We
Okay.
are the only county in the state that is participating.
Oh,
We are the experimental county in the state.
yes,
And
okay. I hear
many
you on that,
towns,
Claudette. I hear
Right.
you on that, and I've done a tremendous amount of research on that program. It is DOS-based, to give you an idea about it. And I've been talking to people in other towns as well to see if there are wonderful programs out there that we could be using that are very searchable, very thorough, and we're not. So believe
the
me.
program that we're in, excuse me, the program that we're in was an experimental program deemed by the state, and they picked Monmouth County.
Yes.
And Carolyn, you're aware of this because you voted with me and Doug against participating in the beginning because of all the fraud that was going on. And then that was rescinded at a later date. But no other county in this state is being forced to assess their properties at the sale value,
20%.
except for those in Monmouth County.
It's not sale
And that's the program
value,
I'm talking
it is-
about.
There is a difference between sale value and market value. Because sometimes there's not a sale in town that equals your house. So it's very tricky. I totally agree with you. And it is, if you look over the past few years, the fluctuation in assessments has been wild. So I hear you. I'm working with Jay, and I'm reaching out to other towns and above. I hear you,
Okay.
definitely.
can you please make us aware, maybe a letter to the residents or whatever? Because it is a class action suit that is being started by a number of people in Monmouth County against the county for forcing the towns to participate in this appraisal or assessment or whatever you want to call it, program. Because again, only Monmouth County is drastically affected by this.
Well, the other thing is doing 20% at a time over 5 years. We could sit for 2 hours on this.
Right.
There's a lot of mess in it.
Okay, I just want everyone to be aware, like, that we're in this program, that's one of the reasons why our taxes are so incredibly high compared to other
Well,
counties.
It's more the rate than the assessment. That's why we came down or a lot of people came down last year, because the town was able to, Highlands was able to reduce its tax rate. And it was.
Well, and that's partially because we had some ratables come on, some of the condos that were given a 5-year grace on taxes, and that's a lot of stuff that people don't know.
Yeah.
But my concern is that we are in a program that nobody else in the state is in, not just Highlands, but the county. And there is action to remove us from that program, because it is incredibly unfair to every resident of Monmouth County.
Well, it's a New Jersey, it's not just Monmouth County, it is a New Jersey piece that says market value. And plus
No,
they've
no.
gone to 100%.
It's, but Monmouth County is in this
Sorry.
experiment.
I'm sorry to cut you off. It's past the
Okay.
3 minutes, so just wanted you to wrap
All right,
up.
but can
Thank you.
Mr. Martin just answer the question, and Carolyn, please
Yes,
answer
of
the
course.
question?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, outside of the last week, I've actually been physically incapacitated, so I'm playing catch up. But as last checked with Ms. Kane, that everything's still going forward, trying to see where we can work within the parameters of what the executive order is. I mean, that's the best I can give you right now. I know I would do, what I'll do is after I catch up, I'll actually have to reach out to, because I have to follow up with a couple other people to make sure that I know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's been a rough week for me to catch up to it. But as soon as I know, I will get it to you as fast as I possibly can. But as far as I know, everything is moving forward, and we're trying to work within the parameters of the executive order.
Okay, do you think we will have some?
Wait, I don't know what she said.
It got cut off.
Oh, okay.
She was probably going to ask if we're going to have something relatively soon. I know that I spoke with Jackie as well about doing rec this year, and she was very positive, and that she felt she could make it happen.
Basically, I wanted to know about the summer camp, if they are going to have a summer camp.
Wait, she's there. Oh,
Summer camp,
I think she said summer camp. Right?
Yeah.
yes.
Oh.
To the best of our ability, with the knowledge that we have right now, and as the way that everything is opening up, it looks very much so like we will have summer camp, at least in some capacity this year.
Or some form, yeah.
Yep. And to answer your question, Claudette, it is 50% for gatherings, but it's up to 25 people. So it does not matter that the rec center can hold 100 people. The executive order from the governor said it is 25% inside for a gathering. I'm sorry, 50% inside for a gathering up to 25 people. So with that limitation of 25 people, and with with people being home and people being interested, I will not be sending people away from a meeting, and you can't choose who's going to come to a meeting and who's not going to come to a meeting. In my opinion, once the governor loosens up the parameters a little bit more, and we can have more people at the meeting, or if we could have some sort of spillover capacity, once the weather is warmer, we could be outside. I think that would be a way that we could be able to do things in person.
Next, we have C. Kane, Mayor.
Kathy, is that you? Oh, where'd you go?
She said she's muted.
muted. There you go.
All right, I'm on.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't ask to speak. I don't know. I don't have anything to say.
Oh, okay.
Well, great to
Okay.
hear from you anyway.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Next, we have Ms. Kim Skorka.
Kim Skorka, Shore Drive. I agree with Claudette that the council should be meeting together in the community center. You could still have the audience Zoom into the meeting. And if you find people being distracting, you could set your Zoom settings so that you personally only see who is speaking at that moment. You don't have to have everybody up on your screen at the same time. So I'm with Linda on that one. I would prefer to see everybody. I would prefer to see the list of people participating. I am happy that you have approved resolutions for shared services to reduce our costs. And I'm curious if we're going to start meetings on the school feasibility study that came out last year, right before the pandemic hit. In that study, it said that meetings would be held by each town. But of course, with the pandemic, I'm sure that got shelved by us, Atlantic Highlands and Seabright. There is a state shared service analysis between Highlands and Seabright. I'm curious if anybody is moving forward on any of the suggestions in that. And in my discussions with the state of New Jersey, apparently there was a similar police department shared service study, but it never got off the ground. I would like to see Highlands push for that study. The state's going to pay for it. We have nothing to lose. We don't have to move forward. But given the $11 million borough hall and the significant infrastructure projects in this side of town in the lower 9th Ward, it's in Highlands' best interest to explore every single cost reduction possible. Again, we don't have to move forward with it, but if the state's going to pay for a study on how Highlands can lower our police costs or any other cost, we should take them up on that offer. And I believe that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, I think I got everything. Regarding the meetings, being for us to all meet together and the public be excluded, that is not allowed specifically by the governor's order. The administrative order said that if there is a quorum of the council, that the public must be allowed in corporeal form. So it is not permitted to have the council together in one room and to have everybody else Zoom in.
That was part of the Division of Local Government Services emergency regulations issued last year. And there was a resolution adopted for the remote meeting procedures in accordance with those procedures. Exactly.
School regionalization. Yes, it was on the back burner, and yes, it's going to be taken off the back burner, as quite a few things were placed on the back burner for obvious reasons, state of emergencies and whatnot. Shared services, we're looking at all of the shared services. And yes, if the state or the county is going to want to pay for a study, we'll have them study to their heart's content. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they want to add to that. To those questions?
I agree with Ms. Skorka in the terms of, you know, that school feasibility study has to be taken off the back burner. That's one of our largest expenses as taxpayers. That I would absolutely want to see that move forward. Shared services in general, I think we have to be cautious. You know, I agree that we want to save money wherever we can, but I think we can all cite our individual experiences with some of the shared services successes as well as failures. So shared services in general isn't a blanket solution. We have to make sure it not only works fiscally, but also for the residents of Highlands.
Exactly. It has to work for both towns in order to work.
Yeah, and I think that we can use the shared service with Middletown right now, with all the problems that our residents have had, as an example of a shared service that has not worked. And then I would also like to add the school feasibility study. Both Carolyn and I have attended a few meetings with both Seabright and Atlantic Highlands prior to the pandemic that were very informative. Unfortunately, the new council members have not had that opportunity yet. But we can also really just pay attention because we do have our local politicians that are moving forward to push legislation that will actually bring about the outcome that we are pursuing right now.
I just want to say that I agree that not every shared service is right for the town, but if the state's going to pay for a study, we should at least take them up on that offer. We don't necessarily have to move forward. And I was always against shared services, but I saw how well it worked when Princeton Township and Princeton Borough merged. It really worked for them. I'm not calling for a merger. I'm just saying that once you do the study, you might find things change. And again, I understand in the past we have had shared service agreements that don't work for us, but it's in our best interest to explore them, especially when it's no cost to us.
Makes total sense.
Agree.
Great. Michelle, who's next?
Sheila W.
Hi, I didn't request to speak, but hi, everybody. It's been a great meeting. I just wanted to say thank you for that review, Mayor. That was just absolutely terrific. It just seems in such an awful past year, maybe people got the feeling absolutely nothing was done, but it was really good to hear that plenty was going on. So thank you.
Thank you, Sheila.
Next, we have Remy Lau.
Hello. Hi, I'm not Remy, but I'm using her computer.
Can you just state your name and address, please, sir?
My name is Brian Cobb, 11 Recreation Place.
Thank
I
you.
am borrowing her laptop with video. My questions regarding Resolution 2185. Right before I get to that, I want to say one thing. Carol Bucko passed January 27th this year, I believe of COVID, I've been told, and I did not hear her name. She was a longtime resident of Highlands. Her husband, Tony, who survived, was a councilman in the 80s. Carol was actively involved. She was she attended almost all the meetings. So I'm sure people remember her, and my thoughts are with her and her family.
Just so that you know, her name was not omitted. The list that I read were people that passed away in 2020.
Sorry. Okay. Very good.
Okay.
Back to the resolution. Regarding Captain's Cove, I'm grateful to hear that the borough's moving ahead. It's good. I have some questions regarding the vacation of Rogers Ave. I realize this ordinance is really not about that. That's not the ordinance, rather the resolution is not about vacating Rogers Ave, but it's in there.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
We lost your, we can't hear you.
I think he's having a technical.
Although Special Redevelopment Council is addressing this and working on this, it's only in a whereas clause where it says that the developer is seeking to redevelop the property and is also seeking to develop a public access way along the Rogers Avenue right of way. If they address this through a redevelopment agreement, it will have to go through the proper process. And that's why it says pursuant to the redevelopment plan, the redevelopment law, and NJSA 40:67-1, which would require an ordinance for the street vacation. And they have to delineate and set forth what specific area they're looking for. There'd have to be a meets and bounds description prepared. And it would have to be addressed. So it's just in the whereas clause indicating that he's looking to redevelop the property, and that's one of the items he's looking for. But that's going to be subject to further discussions for purposes of crafting a redevelopment agreement. And again, I have to defer to Special Redevelopment Council who's addressing it. So just so you're aware.
Can I add something, Brian? I
Yes.
took the opportunity to actually review the redevelopment plan this past week. And to Brian Chabarak, that and the use of Rogers Avenue is included in the redevelopment plan. So that was something that was included in that plan years, I guess, when
2018.
2018, yes, exactly.
Right, but it still would have to go through the proper process with an ordinance and the delineation of the area, et cetera. But that's, you know, now they'll be discussing that with negotiating the redevelopment agreement.
Question on that negotiation is, will public comment be involved? I see you shaking your head. That's a no.
Again, that's going to be done through council and special counsel, but it'll have to be authorized at a public meeting. So
They'll have to be authorized. So that's when we get public comment. Will there be a separate ordinance though? And I think you said no. There will not be a separate.
Defer to special counsel on that, and we'll get back to you.
Okay. It does sound, if I may wrap up, it does sound as though the resolution mentions renegotiation of the entire 2018 plan.
No, it's a redevelopment agreement, which is the agreement for the development and any improvements. And it also authorizes now an escrow agreement for funding of professional fees. But again, like I said, it's special counsel handling this, but I'm happy to talk to him and I can report back.
Special counsel. Is this Joseph Bauman?
Correct.
All right. Will I be able to contact him?
He represents the borough, so.
The borough. So how does the public get involved with the vacate of Rogers Ave?
That's not happening until there's an
It's
ordinance.
not happening.
Well, no, I didn't say that's not happening. I said there would be an ordinance and you would get an opportunity during public.
So there'd be a single ordinance package deal, all wrapped up.
According to the statute, street vacations are done by ordinance, so the public would have an opportunity to speak.
There will be a separate ordinance, sounds like.
If
Now
there's-
you're saying it's wrapped up.
If there's a street vacation, is that
Yes.
what you're asking?
Yes,
Yes, there would be an ordinance for any street vacation that.
separate. All right. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next we have Jay Smith, Mayor.
Jim Smith, 380 East Van Dorn Avenue, Holly Springs, Mississippi. Knowing that tonight was the last council meeting before the 22nd, I'm sorry that the borough doesn't.
If I could just interrupt you for a moment, I have something prepared that I was going to do at the very end.
Okay. The borough administrator didn't provide a report this evening, and therefore didn't provide a status on the payment of the engineer, as he said he would at the last meeting regarding the testing and the 2,038-page report conducted due to the illegal dumping down there in the borough right away. And previously, the borough attorney has said that payment was under negotiation. But
It's been made.
resolution
Mr. Smith,
to the developer,
Mr. Smith, the payment has been made in full to reimburse the testing of the dredging material. That payment was given to the borough earlier this week.
oh, fantastic, thank you. And what's the borough intend to do with the latest stimulus payment? Is one question, and finally, the last question, and it might be most applicable to Councilmember Melnick due to his knowledge of computers, but how does the borough secure and deal with metadata when requested via an Oprah?
I'll speak to the stimulus payment in that I know it was reported in the papers that it's about $465,000. That number, though, is from the CBO, which is the Congressional Budget Office. We won't know an exact number until it goes to the Treasury Department. I've spoken with a number of the council members today in so far as what we were going to do with that. If this number does remain the same, I would recommend that we take the lion's share of it, meaning the $400,000, and to pay off bonds with that, and take the remaining 65,000 and put that into the capital fund. That would be my recommendation. And I don't know if Mr. Melnick is going to be able to answer your question regarding.
I don't think I can directly answer that broad question on metadata in terms of an Oprah request fulfillment, but Brian, I know that you're on the call and you could probably.
They're addressed on a case-by-case basis, depending on the Oprah request, so that's all I could say.
But the borough is, has the capability to secure the metadata, correct?
I think you have to be more specific than, can we do that? That's a pretty broad statement.
Yeah, they're addressed on a case-by-case basis. When the Oprah requests come in, they're all addressed. So.
I'll condense it, Councilmember. If you posted something on your webpage and then it was deleted and replaced, you should be able to grab the metadata, correct?
I think it would depend on the context. You mean the webpage, the town's webpage?
Yeah, the Borough of Highlands webpage. If you posted a document.
Yeah, there should be version control on that to the extent that we should be able to walk back. But
yeah, but I don't know that you can answer that question. But again, they address the Oprah requests on a case-by-case basis as they come in. That's all we can say.
Thank you.
Next we have Chris.
Good evening, Council. Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street. Just a quick follow-up in line with what Brian was talking about relative to the Rogers Street, and you've described it'll be handled by a separate resolution. I believe you said that, Brian?
No, they have to be done by, street vacations have to be done by ordinance.
Okay, fine. But it'll be an ordinance.
If that comes to fruition, it just says he desires it.
Correct. I understand. All right. But as part of a street vacation, it's typical that both sides of the property owners on either side are able to make an offer.
With the street vacation, the adjoining property owners get to the center line on the right of way.
Correct.
And this is from my understanding, a paper street too. But again, I don't know. It depends on what area they delineate. We don't know that yet. So
I understand, but I just want to clarify that in the case of the Rogers Street right of way, the residents' rights to become part of the transaction isn't going to be voided at this point.
everything will be done in accordance with statutory provisions for street vacations. And you are correct. If there's adjoining property owners, it goes to the center line. But again, this is the abstract, because I don't know what area they're seeking right now.
And I understand that. But I think I'm hearing you say that the redevelopment agreement won't eliminate the existing ordinance for vacation.
I'm not sure I understand. You're saying that will it just be incorporated to the redevelopment agreement and be done that way? Is that your question, Mr. Prince?
Well, that's what we don't want.
Yeah, no, it still has to be done by ordinance. And if you look at the resolution, again, prepared by special counsel, it refers to NJSA 40:67(1), and that's the ordinance that permits street vacations, but also requires that it be done by ordinance.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, counsel.
Thank you, Chris.
Next, we have Laura Cowan.
There we go. It's more of a statement than a question.
Can you
I'm
just
all
state
for
your name and address, though? I'm sorry.
Laura Cowan, 215 Linden, Highlands.
Thank you. Thank you.
this is more of a statement than a question. I'm all for shared services, but I work for a couple of different volunteer organizations in which I've gotten occasion to meet with Seabright, Red Bank, Atlantic Highlands, and probably a couple of other police departments that I'm not naming at the moment. And what I can say is Highlands PD is in a class of its own. And I would highly recommend that we at least Highlands PD in and of itself, because they literally are best in class. That's all.
Thank you. I'll make sure that Chief knows that you said that.
Next we have, all I see, it says resident. If you would just please state your name and address, please.
Hi, sorry, it's Tricia Rivera, Waterwich Avenue. I didn't realize it said that.
It's okay, thank you.
I have a couple of questions. First is, I'm also curious about the vacation of Roger Street. It says in our code 83.1 that all the adjacent property owners need to be notified, and that they have a right also to that property, but they need to be notified per our code. That's the first thing. The second thing is the redevelopment plan. I'm hoping that we stick to the objectives, which are to ensure that the bulkhead along both sides of the marina is stabilized and repaired to a modern, resilient standard, account for present and future flood hazards, sea level rise, and other environmental concerns in the redevelopment of the site, require that the redevelopment be compatible, with the physical form of the surrounding community, permit the retention of the historic water-oriented use of the property as a marina or other amenity, and retain public access to the water. Will that be, I want to know that that will be abided by. I also want to know if the 2017 agreement is still in place and will be enforced until they get to the redevelopment plan, which could be 270 days from now. Other than sand that erodes out the holes anyway. And my last question is regarding the ordinance 1823 regarding the Waterwich Bay Avenue sewer stormwater I-Bank project. Does it include the storm sewers? We discussed this at the last meeting. So I'd like some clarification because it does say in the ordinance that it does. Thank you.
Mayor, I can address the last question if you want. I met with the administrator last week, and we discussed this project. There are some storm sewer upgrades included in the project, but the primary focus of the project is sanitary sewers. That is the, how the project was funded with the sanitary sewer component. So there will be some minor upgrades, some upgrades to some piping, some drainage inlets, but the focus is going to be sanitary sewers.
Okay, how much of it is stormwater though? I mean, we have a huge flooding problem in this area. We don't have a pumping system. There are 2 pumping systems at the other end of town. So we were told that that's what we were going to be replacing both. It's in the ordinance.
Well, I don't believe the ordinance specified the extent of stormwater improvements.
It didn't really specify the extent of the sewer either, but one's being left out.
Well, I can tell you that the I-Bank loan program is specifically for water quality, which was the reason this project qualified was the sanitary sewer component.
Okay, so are we going to do anything over here to alleviate the problems in this area regarding stormwater problems?
Yes, we are, Tricia.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, like I said, there are some minor improvements. There will be some drainage inlets that and stormwater pipes that are going to be replaced that are in the project limits in conjunction with the sanitary sewer pipe. I can't really get too much into specifics of what you're referring to. I don't, you know.
I mean,
I know
I'd
there
like,
are a lot of problems in town, but we can't cover them all in one project.
well, I mean, I'd like to know more. If someone could provide me with information on what it will cover stormwater wise, I'd really appreciate that. Because
Can I ask if you can reach out to me in my office tomorrow and I can hopefully
Sure.
walk you through some of this stuff? Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't have any of my other questions answered.
You said about the vacation, if the adjacent properties would be notified, that's absolutely the process as part of the ordinance process. And then you also questioned about the redevelopment plan. But I think that you really meant the redevelopment agreement because the redevelopment plan has already been done. And yes, the redevelopment agreement must mirror the objectives of the redevelopment plan.
Okay, and the 2017 agreement, are we still going to be flooding until you guys figure it out for 180 days and another 90 days? Or are they going to actually fix or shore up the problems that are over there, at least temporarily until they can fix it? Besides Sands, because it's just going right back out again.
We haven't begun with the special counsel to do the redevelopment agreement yet. This is just a temporary agreement. But it was the intention to fully fix the marina on both sides.
I realize that. I'm talking about the 2017 agreement that was dishonored completely.
Well, there was a lot of contention regarding what was and was not done, and I'm not going to get into a he said, she said, and the previous owner and the current owner, and what engineer did what work during whatever period of time. We're going to move forward and we're going to get it fixed. And hopefully it's going to be a great project for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, I just have one thing to say. With all due respect, you all have the video and you all have the photos of our DBW, what the DBW did. You know what's going on over here. So to say, engineers are arguing about it, it's coming out of the marina. I have it. I know what's going on over there. So it's disingenuous to say, talking about engineers when you could see it with the DPW actually videotaped it going on. So are you going to have that fixed? That should be a condition prior to any pre-development, deal.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to let you know you're near the end of your time.
I do think special counsel is aware of the issues and will be addressing all of them.
Okay.
I believe we have Peter Mullen next.
That's correct.
Peter, did you wish to make a statement or ask a question?
Mr. Mullen, you're muted.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Peter Mullen, 11 Marine Place. In the text of the resolution, it mentioned that the goal of this vacation was to develop public access along Rogers Avenue. There is already public access along Rogers Avenue. I want you to be sure of that. And I was curious if this was the right group or if anyone could speak to what is the benefit to the town in vacating this property to a private owner?
Mr. Shabaric, would you like to please answer that?
I again don't know what area they're contemplating, and I'll ask special counsel and perhaps we could report back at the next.
Well,
meeting. I don't know. Let me finish. I don't know what the developer is contemplating and what their discussions were, but it's from my understanding a paper street that abuts the marina, and also obviously there's some residents there too. I don't know the area that he's contemplating or what he's seeking, but we'd have to discuss with special counsel.
But in vacating it would be something that would be a benefit to the town, I would presume.
Again, we can, get back to you after speaking with special counsel. I hate to keep saying it, but he's the one who's been addressing this.
Okay. Thank you.
Next, we have M. Pizzullo.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, it's Michelle Pizzullo at 115 Highland Avenue. I've just a couple of comments and maybe some clarification that can be given to us. Carolyn, I loved the bullet point of everything that was done. I think that was really powerful, and perhaps that could be put on the website, because we do forget all of our accomplishments. So when you bullet point it like that, I think it's great. As far as Linda Mazzola, I really have to agree and echo what she had said. I saw that the council meeting was tonight, and I've been very busy and I forgot, but I was really, really excited to attend, because the last couple of council meetings I felt were really good, and we were able to see everyone. And when I got on tonight, I had to give my email address, which I did not mind, but there were no icons there. I didn't know who was participating. I was so excited last time when I noticed that there were 50 people on. I mean, that's just great. And when we're in person, we get to see each other. Zoom allows everyone to control their cameras. I do, for me, that I just put it on for the person that's speaking. And if I want to look at somebody, I just, hover over their photo. So I'm just very, very disappointed as the taking away that community element to the council meetings, which I feel are really, really needed. And that just goes and brings me to another point. When I have a business meeting with my company, we have over 200 representatives, and they ask if you're not on the panel to please just cross out your video or just put the screen over. So I'd really like to see if that can come back. And there was one other point that I wanted. Oh yes, you said about the outreach, Linda, that the council needed to do more. So I did go online and I did look at the, what were they called? The
Citizen leadership form?
Yeah, but not only the form, but the groups. There was the open space, the communication, I forget what you call them. And a lot of them were really all filled. I do know that Don Melznick had said that there's one space open on the open space, but I don't feel that my expertise really warrant that. So I do appreciate that information, and I will just keep checking back. But again, if we could put back the community involvement on the page for the Zoom meetings, because it just feels that I don't know who's you, but whoever made the decision is that you don't want people to participate. And I don't think that that's really what you're trying to accomplish here. So that's my 2 cents for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, next we have, it just says anyone.
Sorry, I didn't know I was just anyone. It's Harry
That's
Walker.
okay.
Harry Walker, 123 Marina Bay Court.
I'm sorry, you're kind of muffled now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
It's a Harry Walker, 123 Marina Bay Court. I just wanted to go back to 2185. I think I understand that it's just a whereas in the resolution, but I'm wondering why it was included at all. Because it seems like just something that creates a bone of contention with everyone. The language has no force and effect based on what Mr. Chaberick said. It's just the redevelopment company is saying that they want to do this in the future, but it references 4067-1, which requires that there is an ordinance. So why even put it in there, and why does it have to be there?
I can't answer for special counsel who prepared the resolution, but apparently that is what is being contemplated in accordance with the redevelopment of the project. But it does specifically say it will be pursuant to the statutory provisions if that comes to fruition.
I mean, I guess it kind of reminds me of the previous situations where things get thrown into to these resolutions and even ordinances, and they don't really need to be there. They create a bone of contention where now everybody's up in arms about it. You don't even know exactly what piece of property they're talking about, yet we're sitting here talking about this piece of the resolution, and it's really not even decided at this point. So I don't, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense for it to even be there until you, forgive me, until you know what you're talking about.
Well, you can't vacate until you have a specific meets and bounds description, which delineates the area too. So, but
you also can't vacate without an ordinance. So why not just wait until you get, why not just wait until you know what's going on and then create an ordinance and then bring it to the public and then have a vote, as opposed to putting this language in a resolution that's going to upset a bunch of people for no reason, because you don't even know whether or not this is going to happen.
Or Mr. Walker, maybe we can think of it this way. Now the public knows that this is an option, and if the public is not in agreement with it, they can start to express their opinions and contact us and let us know how you feel.
Exactly, and to be here once the ordinance comes out for public comment.
Okay, thanks.
Else, Mr. Walker?
No, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now I do see the person that is called anyone.
Hi, Russ Chellock, 3 Washington. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to commend the council for the new format. I think it's great that the video is eliminated from all the, let's call it the gallery. It really is a distraction. There's too many distractions already. So that's one less distraction that's greatly appreciated. It certainly doesn't reduce the opportunity for people to offer input, as we have seen. I'd like to comment on the Rogers Paper Road issue. It's my understanding that DEP requires that that property be maintained so that the integrity of the bulkhead is preserved. Is that true?
I think that might be a question for
the engineer.
Yeah. Bennett.
So I'm sorry, you asked, is the DEP permit application for the bulkhead?
No, bulkheads aren't waterproof, and it requires backfill to keep the bulkhead working. And doesn't DEP require that the property owner maintain that backfill?
Well, the DEP has has their eyes on this project. They've issued violations to the owner. And I know that the owner and his engineer has been working with DEP and has addressed some of their concerns and have made an application to the DEP.
Specifically, it's my understanding that DEP looked at Rogers, and when they found out that the town owned the property, they said, well, the town should be here restoring the backfill to this bulkhead, which goes right up to the bulkhead, Rogers, the paper road. So the question again is the town responsible for maintaining that backfill?
I believe the township, the borough right-of-way is not right on top of the bulkhead. I believe there's about 1 or 2 feet between the bulkhead and the borough right-of-way line.
Well, you understand hydrostatic pressure, and 1 or 2 feet of soil is nothing, correct?
Understood. But the maintenance of this private property is the burden of the owner, and he has to deal with the DEP himself.
Okay, so if it's the burden of the owner, he backfilled that Rogers Road once and it prevented flooding. And then for some reason, I don't know what all the details were, he was forced to remove that soil last year. And there's a great video, I'm going to send it to everybody. Where the soil was removed, we had ridiculous flooding onto Huddy, onto Recreation. I mean, it was coming in by the thousands of gallons. And I'm going to send that to everybody. And I want everybody to see how it's important that Rogers be given to the marina owner so he can put that soil back that he had to strip last year so we can stop the flooding. And this is flooding that caused probably tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage. So
I know this has gone back and forth a number of times, and I just don't want to keep on repeating the same back and forth. So could we, thank you for that. I'd really appreciate looking at, I'm sure all of us will. We've all seen lots of videos about that area. If you could just make sure that we all get it, I'd really appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I'm looking at what I prepared earlier today. And some people may not realize, but Highlands has a birthday coming up. The borough of Highlands, on March 22, 1900, Highlands became a borough separating from Middletown. So it's not just that in a couple of days, we're going to be 121 years old. March 22nd is a significant milestone for this borough, and not just that we became a borough on that date. Back in December 14th of 1967, a then 19-year-old Thomas Patak started his first tour of duty in Vietnam. He turned 20 just a few months later on February 1st, 1968. And then just another month later, on March 22nd of 1968, he lost his life in the, excuse my Vietnamese, in the Thua Thanh, South Vietnamese area. And it was during a ground skirmish. As most people that live in town recognize this name, he was honored in death by having our first senior building named after him. Mr. Patak was the only casualty in Vietnam from the borough of Highlands, and that is why he was so highly honored. So I wanted to make sure that both of those milestones were down in this recording, and that folks that don't know our history can know a little bit more about it. There's a very fine plaque and tree to Thomas in the grounds of the grammar school. And it's one of the places where we lay wreaths on Memorial Day. And with that, I don't see any other hands. I don't know if anyone else would like any closing comments before I call for an adjournment. Okay, and seeing none, then I will move to adjourn.
Okay.
Joanne's like, oh, she's muted. Joanne's muted, I think.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.